everyone, Dani here, and welcome to another Sunday evening with Edward Rutherfurd's London. We are nearing the very end of this very long book, but it has been such a pleasure, if I do say so myself. Now, if you have been following along, you know that we're doing these every Sunday evening. So tonight is the almost the last chapter. We have two more chapters after this chapter. So we'll have two more Sundays. Will bring us right up to the Sunday before Thanksgiving. And then the Sunday after Thanksgiving, we will have a live discussion for anyone who's interested in chatting with me regarding the book. That'll be Sunday, November 30th at 8 p.m. Central Time. Now, I don't know what we'll discuss, but I'm sure it'll be a good time. If you have missed any of the chapters, do not worry. Go ahead and check the description. There's a full playlist there for you to catch up on. And if you haven't already, I hope you take some time, hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell, and comment below. Or join in that live stream. It'll be a lot of fun. I can't promise that, but I usually have a lot of fun talking with you guys. So, anywho, what are we going to talk about this evening? Well, chapter 19, which is titled The Suffragette. So if you can imagine, we're looking at the women's right to vote. Now, this chapter brings us to 1908, which is about 19 years after the last chapter. So we do have recurring characters. So we have some of the Merediths. If you recall from the last chapter, Violet Bull married Colonel Meredith. He was much older than her, so he has passed away in before this chapter begins, and she has three children from Henry, Frederick, and then Helen. Helen is 6 years old in this chapter. So she is the suffragette. So Violet is very much a part of the women's right to vote movement. She marches for the cause, and towards the end of the chapter, it does get her into a bit of trouble. But she is our suffragette. So if you think about this time, or if you remember Mary Poppins, Winifred Banks, the mom in that film, this is the original with Julie Andrews, she was a suffragette. So if you remember, she was dressed really nicely. She had the ribbon or sash, and she had the songs that she sang. And so that's what we're looking at. This is kind of where we are. In the chapter, they do not yet get the right to vote. But as we know, historically, it's coming. It's just not quite there yet. So other people we have in the chapter. So we mentioned Violet Bull. Her father is still living, so Edward Bull. He's kind of a hard-headed man in this chapter. We see a little bit more on that. He doesn't agree with Violet and what she's doing, which most men wouldn't. You want to keep everything the same and be able to tell women what to do, especially your daughters. We do have some silver sleeves, but they're not that prominent in the chapter. They do serve purposes, but they're not as schemy as they have been in the past. This particular silver sleeves, who married into silver sleeves, so does it really count? And I'm talking about Esther, so remember her from the previous chapters. She does a really good thing in this chapter. So I really appreciated that because, as we know, the silver sleeve ancestors aren't the greatest people. We also have a Fleming, so we have Percy Fleming, and he is interested in a young lady named Jenny Duckett, or if we remember, her true surname as Doggett, and she is a lady's maid for Esther Silversleeves. Now, there's a mention of a penny, but again, it's just really a mention. They serve one small purpose, but we don't really get to know this character, so it's hardly worth mentioning here. The main focus of the chapter is Violet's cause of women's right to vote, and then we have the love story of Percy and Jenny. For Violet, we kind of already talked about that. She marches for the cause. In one case, she takes Helen, her daughter, to march, and her father really doesn't like that. So there's a little bit of a schism there. And ultimately, the end of the chapter, it doesn't go very well for Violet. As far as the love story goes, Percy sees Jenny on the Tower of London Bridge. There's a little bit of like that love at first sight kind of thing. They start to court one another, but in a friendly way. I wouldn't say it was dating. I would say they were just becoming good friends. And he definitely was interested in her, and she was interested in him. But because she was a person of service, she felt like she was less than and wasn't good enough to marry Percy. She also was confused by her status because she kind of came into the Silver Sleeves home in a weird way. If you recall, her grandmother is the one that kind of got her that position. And we know as readers, it's because she's actually a relation to the Silver Sleeves, at least to Esther's family, the Doggetts. But Jenny does not know that. So there's a lot of like, will they, won't they? And it truly is a sweet love story. We find out a few things about each character, and it's awfully sweet. And throughout the chapter, you were just really hoping that they figure it out. And I'll let you get to the end of the chapter to find out if they do. But all in all, it was a very short chapter. It was a very sweet chapter. We get a little bit of the historical side with the suffragette movement, and we get mention of a Haley's comment. We get a mention of motor cars starting to come on the scene. And then we also get a mention of Exhibition Road, which is where all of the museums start to be built, and people start to frequent those. There's like the British Museum, the Natural History Museum, and then there's one other, I can't remember what it's called. But anywho, there's a lot of things that are popping up in London that are still there today, which is really exciting to see. Now, as we continue our chapters, we have two chapters left and only 40 pages. And I will tell you, the next chapter is titled The Blitz. It's roughly 30 pages long. So the last chapter, which is titled The River, so we've come full circle because the first chapter was titled The River. It's only like 10 pages long. So we have 40 pages left of this book. I'm so excited to complete this series. I'm so excited to complete this reread. I'm so happy that you have been along on the journey. And I really hope that you decide to join me in the live discussion. If this is way after everything's been said and done and you're watching this in replay, please feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear from you and find out what you thought, and if you're going to continue on in any Edward Rutherfurd. I can tell you, I have an Edward Rutherfurd planned for next year in 2026. So I'm excited for that because I'm excited to see if there's any crossover from what we see here in London. But anywho, I don't want to get too far off on a tangent. Chapter 19, short, sweet, very just lovely. It's just a lovely short chapter. So looking forward to the last two chapters. Let me know if there's anything you would like to discuss in the live discussion in a couple of weeks. And until then, I hope you're reading something fantastic. If it isn't London, you're taking care, staying safe, and as always, you know how it goes. Happy reading.